Good evening, everyone. James Hicks here from Hicks New Media and Infotainment News. Perspectives in focus at a late time tonight. Unexpected show, but it's for the reason because I've got my special guest, someone who I've been trying to get on the show for a long time. And lo and behold, he called me while I was at the gym. I'm still in my gym clothes, but he called me and said, I'm ready to do a show tonight. Can we do it? So I dropped everything. I look a mess, but that's irregardless of the point. Tonight, it's all about Mr. Kevin Kohn. Kevin, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, James.
You know, only for you, right? at the what is it? The 11th hour, bottom of the ninth, whatever other sports analogy I can come up with, right?
We'll the best way to do it, James.
do a show at hopefully we'll get some participation. Maybe we'll get some participation from folks logging in and watching remotely. I'm seeing the numbers start to pick up on the various channels, but first and foremost, thank you, sir, for taking some time to talk with me. I know we've been trying to get this going for a little while.
Not a problem. Looking forward to it.
So I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I do want to talk to you about you. So if you could give just the elevator pitch of who Kevin Kohn is, right? I know you from the professional side. We've talked personally as well, but give the folks that are tuning in kind of the elevator pitch of who is Kevin Kohn.
Sure. No. Yeah. So in the professional side, I'm an RVP of solutions here in the Bay Area. And it's kind of an admirable place to be in technology because you get to engage great customers, top cutting edge thinkers, and work with them on finding solutions to complex problems. And so professionally, I do that. And when I'm not working, I come home, I have 5 kids, and all of them are into baseball. So when COVID isn't rampant, and even a little bit as it has been, you'll find me out in my off time on the baseball field, usually behind home plate as an umpire. So that's a little bit of my personal side. And but even now during COVID, it's been crazy because we got kids who want to play, and maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but we do find some games more of a kind of probably the old days when alcohol was outlawed and people would go to speakeasies to pick up some alcohol, and we do that, but we do with baseball games. And so I'd rush to a field off the beaten path. We hope the police don't show up. We try to get as many innings in, and then we leave. So that's kind of been 2020 in a nutshell, hasn't it?
So if there's no police officers watching, I'm not going to give out any addresses or anything, but the man is underground baseball umpire. I love that. You know what? I love you so much, and I love you even more just for saying that. I had almost forgot that you were an umpire, and in the show notes, I'll actually put a link to that awesome post that you did on Infotainment News about kind of the anatomy of an umpire. But talk to me a little bit again about, let's start there. Let's start with what you do for fun and what you do from a family perspective. First and foremost, 5 kids. Let me tell you, and ages. Give me kind of a range in ages, I guess.
Sure. So my youngest is she just turned 7, and then I have 4 boys about older than her. I have a 9-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 16-year-old, and an 18-year-old. Actually, just turned 19. So quite the gamut.
And one of those, I believe, has already gone to college, correct?
That is correct.
So, because I hear the others on the outside of your door right now just wrecking havoc, and I love that. That's what it's all about. So
you're
so your son's at BYU. You got 4 at the house right now. How is that being? Look, we love our families. Oh my God, yeah. But we are in the house with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All of my hair is falling out up here. I just now have a completely gray beard. How are you coping with everything since February up to this time? Just maintaining sanity amongst yourself and amongst your family.
Oh, that's a great question. I'm a busy guy. Even if I didn't have kids, I'm always finding something to do. When I was 17, I found this 1968 Mustang that I thought was the coolest car in the world. It was 5 different colors. The alternator was held on with baling wire. It was in real bad shape. I could lift up the carpet and look at the ground, and it was pretty bad.
Wow.
But I thought it was the best thing ever. So I took that car. I drove the wheels off of it. I probably put 3 motors through that car, probably 600,000 miles, and I still have it. And
Really?
yeah. So I've restored it completely, except it's not a restoration. It's a resto mod. It's probably the best way to look at it. And so I posted pictures of burnouts that I do on streets nearby me to my Slack channels with my buddies. Then I got that, and then I like woodworking, so I've built desks and beds and other things like that. And so what I'd like to do with my kids is throw them into a project. Like, hey, you're all up in my business. Let's make it all our business, and let's give you something to do with all this energy you got. So I have this little thing I love doing with my kids. It's called the Scrap Wood Challenge, where I take all the scrap wood pieces leftover from projects I have, and I give them 1 hour to build something creative and cool. And then I judge all of them and what they come up with at the end. And so they love that. It's a lot of fun. So things like that we kind of keep busy with. So.
You're like the home scoutmaster, for the Kohn the Kohn compound. So you've got all these tools at home in your garage, in your shed, or something like that. You've got everything that you need, planers and saws and things like that.
Yes.
All right.
I got it all. I wish I had a nicer area to work within, but you have to break the tools out, set them all up, move things around, then break it all down and put it all in. So someday I'll live in a place where I can just leave it all out and roll in there when I want. So.
Well, no, don't do that, because if you look out the backyard right now, I know where you live, sir. You've got a phenomenal view. Don't you're doing okay, and so you may want just a little more elbow room or a little more leg room, but you're doing all right now. I would like to say you are blessed. So
yeah, I am. And that's something to remember, right? Because I've lived in places in this world where I've lived amongst the poorest of the poor, right? Yeah. And then living here in Silicon Valley, you might not feel like it, but you are the richest of the rich. So it's I've seen both sides. It's been pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah. I mean, most of my extended family lives East Coast, not really just in Virginia, and whole different dynamic, right, in terms of lifestyles, right? My family grew up, really, from a farm and from a country perspective, and very, very easygoing people, love them to death, but just a different growth, different mentality, right? And then you come to the big city or whatever, you come out west looking for fame and fortune. I was fortunate. My father was in the military, so for 26 years we were going back and forth to every different state, every different country, and all that. So I got the opportunity to see almost all parts of the world. And every time I go back home to Virginia, again, it's just a different reality, a different mindset. Not that it's better or worse. It's just different, right? And I just have grown more accustomed to living 5 minutes away from my gym or 10 minutes from my Best Buy, where everyone knows my name when I walk in, like Norm from Cheers. That kind of thing. Those are the things that I like about being where we are, and just the fact that my parents are like 2 miles away and my in-laws are 5 miles away. So just having that kind of synergy amongst folks that are close to. So
wow, James, Norm from Cheers. That's a pull.
I'm old, brother.
We'll pick that up. That's pretty good.
I definitely dated myself. Not everyone. If you were born in the 90s or 80s, you have no idea what I'm talking about. You have to be a 60s or 70s child to even know some of these references that we use.
That's right.
They're brother, look, seasoned. I don't say old. Yeah. We're just seasoned. We've been around the block.
You can see it on our chins.
To multiple chins. So So umpiring. So let me stay on the personal side a bit. So what does that do? I mean, in terms of are you going out and umpiring baseball, softball, little league? I mean, what's the age demographic that you typically focus on when you do that? Because that just seems so different from what you do on a day-to-day Monday through Friday basis, right? I mean, it sounds like a great stress relief and just escape. So talk to me about who do you focus on when you're out there doing that?
Yeah, it probably helps to give a little context to that too. So, growing up, I was in, my father passed away when I was 3. So my mother was trying to, juggle 4 kids and deal with all that. And so I never had the time, she never had the time, I should say, to give me the opportunity to play baseball, but I played soccer a lot, but I've always wanted to play baseball. So, it's not a poor me thing at all. It's just a reality that, hey, if things were different, I probably would have loved to play baseball when I was a kid. So when I had kids, I thought this opportunity to kind of, give them something that I didn't have a chance to do. So when my kid turned 5, I brought him out to the baseball field, signed him up for Little League, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I'm sure they sensed that this guy was completely green and willing to kind of volunteer. So we're going to put him right away to work before he gets smart and realizes that he doesn't have to necessarily do everything.
Yeah.
And the first thing they said was, we need an umpire, and you're going to be the umpire, and we'll train you. And I'm like, what? I have no idea what I'm doing, And so they did. They trained me. I showed up for these trainings, pretty intense stuff. It was like 8 hours a day for 2 days to start. And then there was, every other month, there's another training like that. And I was like, these guys are serious, man. They iron their shirts. They fold their hats and iron their hats a certain way. And I'm like, come on. You guys are taking this a little too far, don't you think? But with all of that training, I realized that, there's not enough umpires, and my kids, to give them a quality experience, I wanted to, make sure to contribute in a way that would make that a more quality experience, and umpiring was the way to do it. So to say that I'm in love with umpiring probably is not 100% true. But
you're on the field for the entire game though, so not even like a coach, right? You're there. Offense or defense?
The best seat in the house for sure. You get to see everything on the field, right? So at least you hope you get to see it, right?
Hopefully you do, because otherwise you're the one getting yelled at by everybody.
Yes.
Where are your glasses at? I've cursed blue out a number of times in my days. So
I'm sure you have, James. I'm sure you have. Yeah, now that was So when I was in school, I did political science and pre-law. So I was always interested in people and their behaviors and why they do certain things. And so I'm working this volunteer gig, and I'm realizing, hey, all these people sitting behind this fence have a different and unique perspective about what's going on out here on the field.
Yeah.
And so it inspired me to say, look, nobody wants to volunteer for this because nobody likes getting yelled at, right? So they're like, I'm afraid to get out there. So I realized, oh crap, there's a big problem here. There's not enough umpires. These poor kids, need to have a good experience, and these parents are kind of crazy, right? So we got to figure out, how do you fix this? How do you make all this kind of mesh in a way that we can get the volunteers, have the kids get a good experience, and make it positive for everyone. So I started to think about it the way I do in my professional job. I'm like, this is just a problem that I have to come up with a solution to. So I started thinking it through. Hey, what do I do? How does this work? Can I put this together in a different way? And I came into this one league where I'm living at now, and there's the chief umpire who was, doing himself. He was doing over 120 games a year, which is an insane number of games, right?
Wow, yeah.
And he was doing that because nobody would volunteer. And I'm like, that's not. I'm like, there's a better way. So yeah, long story short, I put together a solution to the problem. I posted it up on that in a blog form, and I have people kind of replicating that now, which has been really exciting for me to do. Oh, there it is. Yes.
Look at that. Look at that. See the timing there. See how we play off of each other. I'm just saying. It's almost like
Beautiful.
I've done
That's
this
almost like a
before.
professional deal there, James. Yeah. So yeah, I put that together, and I have been asked to come into various leagues all throughout the district and throughout the area here. They've invited me to come in and speak to the board. Hey, how did you get your umpire program turned around? Why are you seeing what you're seeing, and how do we do what you've done? And so in answering all those questions, I thought, shoot, I should just write this down and just put it out there for whoever that finds any value from it whatsoever to go. And I figure if there's a lesson learned that we gain, might as well put it out so everybody can learn from that as well. And if they want to, they can grab this and go. So that was the background. So
I love it. And you've seen it kind of take off, people taking advantage of the whole program that you've written in your area. Has it grown outside of your area in the Bay Area? Do you know?
It has. I've I was fielding questions from a guy in Australia, believe it or not. So I'm like, didn't even realize you guys played baseball in Australia.
Is this cricket or what? No, same sport.
I think that is their main sport. So they're probably, and then I had a South Korean guy call me.
Okay.
I know they play lots of baseball in South Korea. And then on the East Coast had a few. So it's been interesting. And again, I'm sure there's other improvements people can make to that, what I put together, and I hope they do. Right. So,
yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing you at the Little League World Series one of these days when we can all get back together to large venues and groups and crowds and movies and sporting events. I'm gonna look behind the plate there and I'm gonna see Blue. And I know that guy. He can't see a strike if it hit him. Well, no, I won't say that. I won't say that. All right, let's pivot into Monday through Friday. Technology man, you design solutions, you help people with their problems, people being customers and businesses. Talk to us about, I keep going back to just 2020 just because everything has changed so much. So talk to me about how your day-to-day work life has changed in this particular year. Because look, before 2020, I was at your office every other week. We were hanging out, we were talking, we were planning to take over the world, but now everything is kind of not stopped, but just shifted, right? So you're engaging and interacting with your customers slightly different. How has that changed you, and how has that changed kind of the folks that work with you and or for you?
Yeah, this is that's been the number one issue that I've been faced with and grappled with this entire year, which normally my job involves meeting with people in person. It's really challenging to solve a problem without being in a room with the people that you're going to war with.
That's a good point.
These are people who are living the problem. There's intangibles involved with every problem that's out there that technology itself just doesn't solve. In fact, I would say that a large portion of the solutions that we come up with involve the people and the process aspect of the environment, and technology kind of is an afterthought a little bit. Because you can make the tech do what you want and need it to do, especially today. Things are so malleable.
Yeah.
But what I've found in my normal job is a lot of success when you get in this room. People are expecting you to throw up some slides on a whiteboard, slides up on the projector, and go through your slide deck. And I avidly reject that approach. And I start with, hey, what's going on here? Where are you guys challenged? What's your vision? What do you want to achieve? And what are your goals and where are you going? Normally I do that homework before I get there.
Yeah. Show
up in the room and I go right to the whiteboard and I start listing out, this is where you want to be. And then on the other side, this is where you are. And the gap in the middle is our opportunity area where we work, and we say, okay, now how do we get this gap to close? And that's the solution I come up with, right?
Okay.
That's a lot of, hey, you got this guy in here who's very stubborn, but he's the leader of the group, so you have to win him over. Hey, you got the CIO over there who's paying the bills, but he's lost as far as what we're talking about. You got the guys who are just following the leader, and then you have this other group who might not really well align because they hate that other group. They're also siloed. So you have to really work the room and bring everybody together through this ideation exercise and experience. That was magical, and seeing that grow into a solution that you can then provide them and say, this is going to solve your problem in these 3 ways and by this date. To now, everything's online, everything's on WebEx or Zoom, and you can't see anybody in person.
Yeah.
The opportunity to get together and even identify the problem is a lot more challenging. And then coming to a solution and getting all the people involved on board, wow, it's very daunting. So that's the challenges I've laid out from where my job has changed this year. And that's the answer to that first question I think you asked, which that's something that I think a lot of people are still grappling with. I think we're seeing a slight change in the industry as well. Whereas before you would find there's this salesman who goes out and because of his relationships convinces people to talk to him. And then there's this technical guy who kind of follows along in his coattails and then says, here, I'm going to tell you about all the bells and whistles of that thing the sales guy has just told you about.
Yeah.
That life is either dead or dying in my mind. I see it as technical people who understand the technology, but can also understand the people are going to rule the day. I think that's where the industry is moving towards.
I completely agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. This, technology guy with a sales guy approach, I think is going to be going away in the next 10 years or so. So that's we'll see how right I am on that. Maybe I'm not, but I think that's where we're going in the industry. And so now you add in everybody's working from home. So where do you gain traction with these people and how do you penetrate that? And I think part of that answer is a lot of people try to do their homework before. So you have to start with the collateral first. You have to produce valuable collateral that people are interested in reading, that identify where they're at and instill them with some confidence that you can possibly solve their problem. And so enough so that they'll take your call, they'll meet your Zoom, they'll get on your WebEx, and you can start there.
Yeah.
But that's the challenge, I think. I think that's where you go with it though. So
and that's tough, right? Because look, we all now no longer have the commute, so everyone swears that you can be available on teleconference from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. just because. And I swear it's tough for me when I either need to or have to or even want to get my partners involved that I work with on a day-to-day basis. Say, man, I don't want to waste your time. I only call you when I only raise the bat signal when we have to, but can you get on this Zoom call so we can talk about X, Y, and Z? No, I don't want to get on the call. Okay. Well, what's the compelling story? What's in it for me? What makes this relevant to what I'm doing, what you're doing with your customers or with your partners or with your constituents? And again, not being able to work the room anymore, not being able to be in there and what I always tell my wife, what I do, the jazz hands, right? Not being able to do that and be in the conference room, walking around and giving the pitch. It's tough to do that on a video conference because half of the time I'm sitting here, look, I haven't put a suit on in a long time, brother. I don't know if they fit anymore. I don't know where my ties are. My nice shoes are gone. I don't know. Right. I go to work with a baseball hat on and Gymshark hoodie. That's terrible. That's the hard part for me, right? Because I am one who likes to kind of dress for the occasion, right? And if I'm going to be doing a presentation, it's harder to get into that feel. I go stand at that whiteboard every day when I'm on a call at work, but you're not in the same room with me, so it's hard to convey the same kind of message and make it compelling in my mind. So I'm having a challenge. That's why I kind of asked you what you're doing. I'm having a hard time this entire year of accepting this new normal.
Right. I think we all are. I think I don't know that anybody's got it really worked out yet and made it effective. I think we're kind of on a little bit cruise control in the industry.
Yeah.
And we're just working existing relationships, and that's not going to be enough in the next year. So
I don't want to keep calling my folks and keep pulling that that lifeline or whatever. I don't know how many extra lives I have with some of my folks, to be honest with you, and folks probably notice how we're deliberately trying not to say who we work for on the day, how we're dancing around who we were. But folks who watch this, and especially folks who probably watch this on LinkedIn after it's done recording, they'll know. But and they'll respect the candor that we talked about. What else you got going on, brother? I'm just so thrilled and honored to be able to have a conversation with you, because you're an interesting guy, just to be one who rebuilds automobiles and like you say, goes out and burns out and posts those on a secret channel somewhere. I need to know where that channel is, because I need to be following you. Does woodworking with the extended family, out there behind the plate doing the umpire business, and then puts on the Superman uniform and goes out there and solves all these technical problems for folks. You're quite an eclectic young man there, Mr. Kohn.
Well, I don't know about young, but we'll see how that rolls. No, actually, these all do kind of merge together. The other thing I'm working on, actually, and to answer your question, is when I was working on that Mustang, I was trying to buy the suspension kit for it, and it was very expensive, $2,400, something like that. And I was scouring the web for the best deal on this and who had it.
Yeah.
And I would get on the web, I'd start looking for it, and spend 3-4 hours sunk time looking for this thing. What's the best? Oh, that's not really the best deal yet. I think I've seen it lower. And then I come back to it the next day and spend some more hours on it. And then who's done that, right? I think everybody's pretty much done that, right?
I'm doing it right now on the screen over here, to be honest with you. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I feel your pain.
So I noticed something there. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. There's got to be an easier way to do this. And then I got busy. Life happened. And I missed a couple of days. And I went back to one of these sites. And lo and behold, they had a one-day only sale for $1,000 for that thing. And it's over.
Did you miss it? Oh,
and I missed it. And I'm like, no, this is not okay. So I thought, I solve technology problems for a living. There's got to be something I can do here.
There's got to be a way.
So I started thinking about this, and I'm like, I bet if, and then I started going through these. So I got a guy that I work with.
Oh, there's always a guy.
There's always a guy.
Yeah.
And I shared with him, I'm like, hey, Matt, I think this is a possible solution to this problem. What if you had an automated way to kind of point your environment at certain websites, and it would scour them all the time. And if it ever went on a one-day only sale for something, it would trigger you an alert, and it would send you a text or an email or something like that and let you know, hey, this thing is on sale. And I'm not going to miss that again, right? So I built that. And so I built it.
Okay, hold on. So I'm just going to cut you off right now, because I need that. Both of my kids are shoe fiends, and they follow they're buying all these fancy Jordans and Reebok and whatever, all the Nikes, everything, right? So they're on there trying to catch the shoes as soon as they drop, and I think it's the mafia. I really do. There's some underground aspect of this, and if we could find out when those shoes drop and when the price is right and when it's the Black Friday Cyber Monday deal. So are you going to market this or monetize it or Kohn Enterprises?
I think so. So here's what there are tools out there that will do something similar, but they have to be affiliated with one entity.
Yeah.
So for example, you're going to find companies out there who say, oh, we'll alert you when we find the best price, but it's only on Amazon, only for things at Amazon. And Amazon has this really interesting thing that if you're affiliated with them, they will not allow you to affiliate with anybody else. So it's an all or nothing thing. And so to me, that limited what I was trying to do. I'm like, no, I want to have exposure to as broad of a base of vendors and companies as possible. And as broad as Amazon is, which it is broad, right? I thought there are still, you realize that if you're going to market your goods on Amazon, you have to pay close to 20% in fees and dues to them. So when you sell that thing, that you're getting 15 to 20% of that product is going straight to Amazon for their due, right? And I'm like, that's stiff. That's pretty heavy. So I thought,
well, that's just like the mobile sites, right? So that's the whole app store thing with Apple as well. So
no, good point. So I thought I'm going to take a different take on this. This is going to be Amazon meets Craigslist, right? Meets whatever, kind of all coming together. And
a homegrown eBay here with
and even eBay, like I use eBay as a source. So I have 130 million products that I have right now listed in my site. And what I'm gonna do and have been doing is anybody who wants to list their products in the site can do so freely. I don't charge them, right? Okay. And I'm just trying to get utility out of this product. So, and I think in this year, when the small businesses are having such a hard time during COVID, I feel like it's an area that is really could resonate well with people to know that, hey, you don't have to pay any money. You're going to put your products in here, and I will just redirect the people to your personal website where the product is listed, right? But that way, everybody can get a comprehensive view of all the products, wide and far. It doesn't have to be in the U.S. only. It could be in the U.K. or wherever. All right. And you can get a good price comparison. Yeah. So that's the take I've taken on it. It's more of an open source market.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, technology. I got a technology question I'm gonna ask after this, but where is this hosted?
It's called CircleAny.com.
I mean, so what is it? Is it somewhere in the SaaS cloud or something, or is it? I'm trying to find out if it's in Amazon because I want to ask if it's part of AWS.
It is not in Amazon. I host it myself in Colorado. So.
All right, hold on. Let me look at that. So what is the URL?
CircleAny.com.
I'll take a look at that. Oh my goodness. Here, let me see here. We locate the best. Fancy logo and everything. You got some reviews. Are these real reviews, or did you make are these your kids? Is that what that is? That's your 7-year-old leaving a okay.
Yep. So it has been a labor of love, something that I've enjoyed doing, and it's taught me a ton about the experiences that people that we work with on a day in and day out business. So yeah.
And how long has this been up?
This has been up about a little over a year.
Okay.
In fact, we're about to redesign this front end a little bit, pulling out the video aspects of this, and there's going to be a little bit different layout here shortly. But yeah, and the idea here is, if we could get a lot of people, a lot of companies realizing that they could just upload their product portfolio for free, that hopefully it brings them more business, and this becomes a better utility for examples like the one I shared, where if I'm really searching for something that's weird or different or not normal, or even normal things, that I can find it pretty easily and have it alert me when I get the price I want.
I love that. I'm signing up tonight. And have you got again? Have you got shoes on there? You got the new Nikes on here.
You should see it in there. You know, you're going to see a lot of things from people who are affiliated with Walmart.
Okay.
We had things in there from Amazon. We have things in there from eBay, and about, I don't know, 90 or 100 different vendors that are in there right now.
Okay.
And it just, based on the relevance algorithms that I run, depends on which one of those vendors is prominent in the results list.
So is it just pricing? Is it also availability? Because I'm looking for this Nintendo Switch, so my daughter will be a happy camper this next month.
It'll tell you if it's available once you click into it.
Dude,
it'll let you know. So
that is why we had this conversation before holiday time, because that's gold right there. Okay, I got some plan to do tonight. And you do this in your spare time. You know, you got your own half of a soccer team at the house with kids, and you know, day job umpiring, bootleg sporting events. That's why you got the couch in your office, right? Because when you get through coding and designing solutions with Circle N, you just crash on the closest location.
That's right. You got it.
That's pretty good. All right, let me ask. So, personal technology. Again, we're technologists by heart. What, from a personal technology perspective, is your go-to tool? Right, device, application, software, hardware, whatever the case may be. What is it that you got to have with you all the time, or you use frequently?
Well, I think we all are fitting that boat of having an iPhone nearby, right? So definitely that. But I think you know, between an iPhone and an iPad and the MacBook and all the other crap that we have to deal with, quite frankly, I'm actually looking for times when I don't have a piece of technology in front of me all the time.
I love it.
I love getting out there and working with my hands and building something. And so if I can get out and get a box end wrench in my hand. In fact, this year in December, I bought the kids and me, I bought 2 dirt bikes.
Okay. Well, hold on. Don't talk too loud. Do they know about the dirt bikes? I mean, they're right there on the other side of the door. Right? They're like listening, right? You know, what's Daddy doing in there? He's supposed to be, you know, watching TV or playing with us. Okay, right. Dirt bikes, right on.
Yeah, it's something I wanted to do for a long time, and I'm like, I'm not getting any younger. I got to just do it. So the timing couldn't have been more perfect because COVID hit. Everything shut down, and the only thing you can do are things by yourself, or you know.
Yeah.
So you know, I throw the bikes in the truck and I head down the road to the nearest place where I can go. It's 13 miles away, and I tear it up with the kids, and we have a blast. So
that's cool, brother.
You know, so getting a wrench in my hand, working on those, teaching my kid, hey, this is how it works. This is how you maintain it. That's a lot of fun. So honestly, that's the kind of technology I like to do in my off time. So.
I like that. That is actually a perfect answer, because you know, we spend so much time anyway in front of all of these screens, and we spend so much time on, right? Because when we're doing whatever it is we do on the Monday through Friday basis, to be able to focus on what's most important, family and quality engagements and interactions with them, getting a little dirt underneath your fingernails. That's cool, man. That's what it's all about, and that's why I respect you so much, and I'm glad to call you more than just a colleague, but I'm thrilled to call you a friend too, brother.
Oh, I appreciate that,
Jim. So look, do what you got to do. Stay safe. Enjoy the holidays. Don't eat too much, right? Because you know it's. We're getting up there. We're more seasoned now, and it's harder to work it off, right? You know, just getting out there on the bike doesn't help with all of that pound cake that you've been eating, or the pecan, or that maybe that's just me. You know, my son made some cheesecakes the other day, and I've been dipping in them all day and all night. It's really pathetic, to be honest with you, how much I'm eating. But
Well, he's up there, buddy. That chair can only hold so much.
I don't. Well, I'm looking at a new one, to be honest with you. Just we won't. That's a whole other show. We won't talk about that as well. Mr. Kohn, be good to yourself, brother. I appreciate you again for taking the time for coming onto the show, just talking. I just really wanted to share with the audience who you are and let folks really hear from someone who was just a great mentality, a great family man, a great leader in the industry as well. I wish you nothing but the best, sir. Be good to yourself.
Thank you, Bud.
Later, brother.
Nice to meet you. Take care, James.
Later.